Welcome, marvelous makers,
and art appreciators,
to the ArtSpace podcast,
brought to you by Lemon Street Gallery and ArtSpace,
located at 4601 Sheridan Road.
Stop on by your favorite citrus-themed art gallery today. Well, not today because it's closed today. But, the day you're listening to it, it might be open. So stop on by.
Check it out. We are your hosts, Shelby Nesmith.
And I am Jake Hoy.
And today we have the wonderful Sarah Ratliff with us, who does a lot of surrealist paintings, mainly in acrylic and oil.
Yep, mainly in acrylic. Only oil when I was taking college classes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All about that acrylic.
Yeah, really love it.
But yeah, she does a lot of, your subject matter would fall into surrealism, merging nature with the human form, and exploring topics of emotion in a very surrealist form.
Oh my gosh, yes. Perfect. Nailed it.
Wow.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
Spoken like a true art
What
stalker.
am I doing here?
I'm sorry. I'm obsessed with your work.
Before we started recording, ladies and gentlemen, Shelby described herself as Sarah's art stalker.
Yes,
So
I love her work.
that has been confirmed.
It's the best.
It's great. I know. I love it too. I may not have qualified to name myself an art stalker yet, but I hope
You'll
to get there.
You'll
I'm
get
shooting
there.
for it.
Yeah.
So
Can that be like a badge on your Facebook page? Just art stalker.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We'll have to make that happen.
the art part of that is very important.
Yes. Purely just your art. I obsess over your art. So yes.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Sarah. We're glad you were with us today.
No,
Let's do a
thank
little
you.
check in. How you doing? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited to be on here. I'm feeling good that the weather's finally getting nicer out.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's a little warm today, but that's okay.
I was
But I'm
going to say
feeling
that
good
too.
overall.
I didn't want to ruin the vibes and say it's
You were
too
like,
hot.
it's so hot.
It's so hot.
The weatherman can say that it's hot.
It is hot.
It's valid.
Certified hot.
Yes. You have the degree at home that says you can say it's hot
I
outside.
spent all that money and years of my life to be able to say it's hot.
Are we being for real right now?
Yeah, I have a degree in meteorology. I don't know if you know.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
We've never really talked about it on the podcast that much because it's about art and not. This isn't called the Meteorology Space podcast.
Switch it up.
But yeah, I have a degree in meteorology from the University of Oklahoma,
Very cool.
and now I run a local weather page called Jake's Kenosha Area Weather Page.
Woo. Yep.
I had no
taken-
idea. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's taken this many episodes for me to plug that on the podcast,
But now it's here, so
Check it
everyone
out.
knows.
Yes.
or don't. It's fine. Listen to the podcast. That's more important.
Yeah. Aw. Alrighty, let's get into these questions. Starting with how kind of you got involved with art, what was your earliest art memory?
So I was thinking about this. I don't have any, I know I've always done art, like always. But the thing that I remember the most about like my earliest art-based memory was in third grade. One of my art teachers, Mrs. Howe, she always encouraged me to do art, always spent time with her. She suggested I submit like something for Southern Lakes Anthology, which is like a book for all sorts of kids, like from kindergarten to like 8th grade. I don't know if they do high school, but she encouraged me to submit something. And in third grade, I got my first publication because I had won
Yay.
something. Yeah. So I remember that whole situation. It was huge. My dad was like so proud of me. He took me shopping. He got me new shoes so I could walk across the stage, my little self, and like get this little book that I was published in. So that was probably like something that just like really sticks out. When I thought of that question, that was the first thing I thought of. So, but yeah, I've always done it. So ever since I can remember, I've always enjoyed art.
What kind of stuff were you doing at a young age like that?
I was drawing a lot. I didn't work too much with paint. Paint, I think, was more like high school.
Yeah.
But yeah, drawing mainly with like just pencil, colored pencil at times. But I think that's what a lot of people start off with because those are what we're given, like pencils,
Yeah.
pens, just drawing. Yeah.
I mean, that's all that I would trust a little elementary
That's fair.
schools.
Hey,
personally.
nothing wrong with crayons.
Oil
and stuff.
paint.
Yeah. I wouldn't give them paint or a chisel and say, go forth and create.
Wood burning toolkit.
Oh,
like,
no.
Oh, it was wood burning, yeah.
That sounds dangerous.
It is.
That's why you don't start the kids with lino cut in elementary.
Nothing with the word
They'd
cut.
be so
in it.
Yeah, no
advanced,
cut.
though. Could you imagine if they started so early? They'd be next level.
I mean, maybe you can find the right kid for it, but
Yeah.
as a general scope, I would not.
Not to be trusted, no.
Was there like a subject matter that you focused on as a kid?
Mainly art. So outside of that,
No, I mean like
Subject matter.
what were you drawing? What?
oh, people.
Okay.
I've always really gravitated towards people. I don't know if there was anything really outside of that. That's the only thing that comes, like, that's what I won in that, what I was talking about, the publication. It was two girls, like, standing next to each other. And so that's always what I've been drawn to.
People.
Yeah, people, drawn figures. Now they're the same. They just have less hair most time. Most of my figures are bald when I draw or paint them.
we had a past guest on who said that the hardest part are the faces and the hands. And I see a lot of hands and a lot of faces in your
Yeah.
work.
That's like the most important part. Like, I always like laugh thinking about, like, I've gotten so many comments on, like, even in critiques at school, like, people are like, oh, it's great, but like, why don't they have hair? And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like the face and like hands, they just show so much more, whereas hair and like clothing, it's just kind of there most of the time. So yeah.
Yeah.
A little spiel.
Oh, I kind of like how you do that because it really morphs into the background and just focuses on those features and that emotion. So I think it is beneficial to not have to focus on the hair and all that stuff, especially because your work is just naturally textured, like the way you build up your paint and how you do your painting. So I don't think it needs hair because that might be distracting, too much texture and everything. So I love it. It goes with kind of your surrealism, nature stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely taps into it. And I am glad you brought up like the surrealism, because that is always a word that when talking about my work, I always want to put it in there. And even though some work is more like realistic, but I really love doing like surreal kind of scenes. So that's my main focus.
Yeah, because I know you kind of do work like that's more like underwater scenes, or you'll also just bring kind of things from nature, just make a little scene, a gathering of mushrooms or something. And I know that's kind of more of your art for art's sake kind of stuff, where you're selling and the stuff that makes the profit. So when I see your surrealist works, it's just like, okay, she's making this piece, she's taking a break, and she's kind of forming something. So I always love it when you come out with a new piece like that.
I really appreciate you saying that, honestly, because that is like how it is. A lot of like those mushroom pieces, I love doing them, but it's definitely like the surrealism. That work is like coming from me when I need a break, when I need something to just kind of get away from just trying to make money, to try and, you know, boost a business. Like that stuff that's like, I want to express something. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I told you I'm an art stalker.
Confirmed.
Yes. Well, and also being with you a little bit in college and stuff, like we kind of were learning at the same time of discovering like what should we express through art, and because like you don't need to express everything. It just, you can make a weird little mushroom thing and just have it be that, and then having a time where it's like, okay, process these feelings and go forward. So yeah, I remember doing that in college with you and just seeing your work, and yeah, I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, I grew a lot in college. All those classes were, I am very fortunate for all the professors, all the different techniques we had to do. I love projects. Like if you can give me, that's why I like competitions, like where they're like, oh, we're going to do something like blue themed or this themed. I love it.
Oh, that
It
sounds
like
fun.
there's a drive to do it, and it's just exciting kind of tackling a challenge. and then seeing what everyone else creates. Like Jill did like Broken Heart art
Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
and just seeing all the different interpretations of what people did was just amazing. That fuels the soul. It's nice to just like have something you don't have to think about. Like you already have the subject matter. It's there. You just got to do something with it.
Right. Yeah. It's like elaborations on a theme. Like,
Yeah, it's great.
and you get to see what everybody else's idea for the same, prompt is.
Yeah, it's fun to see like how everyone's mind processes things. It's beautiful. It's and especially talking to people about it, like, for the Broken Art show, it could be like, oh, it could be a personal thing for them. It could be like a different person did something for them. It could just be the general. It could just be more focused on hearts. Like there's so many interpretations for everything. So it is cool being part of like that collective, we're going to make a prompt art piece.
Definitely. Because sometimes that's all you need to get moving and going
Yeah.
forward. Because sometimes you get into an art block and you need to do something a little different. So prompts can be very, very helpful.
Most
Love
definitely.
Getting back into our questions here, Sarah, who would you say was an influence on your art?
So I would say there's like, I think a lot of people like around me, like my family, are a big influence. Even if it's just like how I process things with them or like memories with them, I think that's a big influence. I love painting my dad because he means so much to me. He's probably one of the biggest. I will just say it. Yeah, he's my like biggest influencer and inspiration just because he's always supported me from like early ages. Even now, he's like gung ho, like you got this, you can do it if you want, So he's probably the biggest. And then, yeah, like just people around me. I love focusing on like community. I love doing pieces where I can include like other people. Like I have one of my pieces is my face. It's like a large version of my face, but all inside are like 50 plus little faces of people I know. So family, friends. Yeah.
My face is
Yeah,
in
what?
there.
Shelby's face is
Yes,
in there,
my
so-
face is in there.
I just asked like people that are around me. I was just like, send me like a picture, and because I don't know, community is very inspiring, and just like having a collective, just these people make you who you
Yeah,
are, and you
for sure.
select the people that you're around, and yeah. So I would say, of course, like the people closest to me more so than anything, influence like my work, and then I would say nature.
Nature,
Nature.
mushrooms.
Yeah,
Mushrooms, butterflies, yeah. All like anything that could be colorful or different designs. I think it's fun to tackle them. So, which nature provides a lot of that.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So kind of stemming off of community and everything, who would you say is your favorite artist, whether it be local or worldwide, international famous kind of artist?
Or both. Yeah.
It can
Who
be-
are some of your favorite artists?
yes.
So, we were just talking. I'm definitely inspired. I'm definitely inspired by this artist over here, Carly.
Carly Lyons. Yep.
Yeah.
She has been mentioned on almost every
That's
episode.
what Shelby was saying. It's beautiful work. It's beautiful work. And I resonate with it so much because it's, that human form mixed with like nature. And I think that's just beautiful. Love that. So definitely inspired by that. And then Salvador Dali, of course, with the surrealism.
I see that.
And I do like, they're all artists we know, but like Vincent van Gogh, I think there's a lot like if you see those pieces in person, they're so beautiful. So
There's a reason why people are still talking about
of
it.
Yeah.
course, yes. So they're definitely worth mentioning. A few other people that I don't know if we all know, but there's Irish Scott. She does a lot of like finger painting, which is definitely where I got my inspiration to do a few of my pieces. But I think that's just, especially in this time, you don't see a lot of that. So definitely inspired by her as well.
Nice.
So those are just a handful.
Yeah, I know we're trying to get you in here teaching some finger painting.
I know.
We will get there.
Everything is just, everything seems so busy and chaotic lately, but I would definitely love to do that.
Yes, definitely. That is on the schedule for the near future. So overall speaking, what would you say is your motivation to create?
So the first is, of course, because I love doing it. I always have. And a lot of my pieces, it is just a way of expressing like what I'm going through. So just like some relief from what's going on in my mind and my head, just to kind of get it out there, let it be. And then money, of course. It is like my full-time job of like creating, whether it's my own work or I do painting classes as well. So like literally my income comes from creating art.
Yeah.
So those are my main reasons, but I feel like lately it has been more so focusing on, to make an income, to make people more aware of who I am, doing a little bit more commission work, creating for other people is where I'm at, just to kind of get that ball rolling so I could hopefully create this little business for myself and hopefully one day just be focusing on just my artwork. That would be ideal.
Yes. All artists kind of dream of that day where I don't have to do a commission. I don't have to report to anybody.
Yeah.
I just make what I want to make and have my feelings all there or lack of feelings all there. And so yeah, that is the dream.
I will say, like, as a non-artist coming into doing this podcast, like, I didn't think we'd talk about like money that much. Like, and I was very naive.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, oh, it's just about the process and
Well, yeah.
integrity of art for art's sake. And now I'm like, no, dude, you got to pay your bills, man.
Yeah.
Artists have a house too, and
Well, yeah,
people to support and
there's this whole like narrative too, which I totally get, but like, yeah, doing art for art's sake, like, we shouldn't be focusing on money, but like, yeah, we should. I mean,
Right.
like, you are creating something that you have experience doing for years. Like, it's a skill that you like refine and you spend so much time on it. Like, you deserve to be paid for it. And so of
Paid
course,
fairly,
yeah,
yeah.
of course money has to be brought into it. And if you do want to make a living,
100%.
yeah. But yeah, I bet money gets brought up here and there.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like it's like a taboo thing to talk about though with like art. I feel like money
I
and
don't
art
think
is
it
so weird.
should.
I agree, but
Yeah.
I definitely feel like it is.
Yeah, and that's where I got my naive ideas
Yeah.
of like, oh, it's not, don't talk about that, But no, it's like, let's get real here, guys.
Yeah. It should be talked about more.
For
It
sure.
really should.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have a more centered episode. That could be fun.
Oh, a themed
Yeah,
episode.
kind of break it down. Maybe.
Prompts.
Yes.
Look at this.
I like
Throw
that.
in a
Full
couple
circle.
prompts. Yeah. Gather maybe a couple of past guests and just have a
A
chit
round
chat.
table.
Yes, that would be so fun.
That does sound
Ideas.
great.
We'd have to buy more microphones.
Oh
though.
yeah. We'll get there.
We need money, so we'll have to make art.
That'd be fun though if we did like art or like the podcast art sale, something for that. That could be cool too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're just exploding with
There's so many
ideas today.
ideas.
Oh my goodness, we're not going to get into that.
We are recording at an unusual time, I will say, full
Yes.
disclosure, people. It is the middle of the day, and it's a little bit of a different energy, maybe, but not in a bad way.
Well, and it's bright
Probably
and
in a-
sunny out.
It's a
It's
good
like,
thing, if anything. Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel much more energetic.
yeah.
Yeah, coming back after work with that big cup of coffee you have, and you're like, let's get this interview
We're
going.
doing it. We're doing it. I'm only water today. Although I did have coffee this morning, but
Either way. So yeah, the vibe might be different, but that's nice. So getting back to the questions. So we did just talk about money. So what if
now
money
let's talk about no money.
Yeah. So what if money was
Good segue.
no object, you had all the time in the world? What would your dream project look like?
So I think it would be fun to do more murals. I just love doing, just like having something that you have to see in person. And yeah, I did like this little mural for my boyfriend's brother where I did like a bonsai tree, and on like the different branches, he built cat shelves so the cats can jump like all on this tree. And I don't know. I just love the idea of like your art is somewhere, like you can see it through pictures, but you'll never, like you have to see it in person to get like the full thing. So I think I would do murals not only in my house, maybe like on a fence, you know, on sides of buildings. I think that would be the ultimate goal. Like that would be nice.
Well, that's an achievable goal. So
It is.
yes.
The one mural you did do, how big was that?
I don't know exactly how big that was.
Are we
I don't know
talking
what
like
the
side of
standard
a
size
house?
of a wall.
Okay.
Like a room wall.
A room wall. Okay.
Yep.
That's fine. That's enough for me to picture it.
That's
A
fair.
room wall.
It was 9 foot, you know, 36 inch. You know? No, and I also did a mural in my garage at like the condo we just lived at. I did like a 9 foot by like maybe 6 foot or something. And it was actually for a college school project that I decided to do a mural.
I didn't know about
Thinking big.
this.
Yeah.
Oh, well, cool.
It was like, again, the prompt was like, you either need to make something that it like you have to go and see, or like it had to be seen in like the right setting for it to be made sense or something. So I was like, I'm gonna do a mural, and we just sold the house actually this like past year. So I was like, I left the mural there. I was like, bye.
Please don't paint over this.
I'm like, if you do, that's fine, I guess. But
Don't tell me. I'll be sad.
yeah.
yeah, so
That'd be very rude. I think if I bought a house that had a nice mural in it,
but like, what if you didn't love the mural?
that's true.
Like, what if you were like, I would, you know,
That could just be a white wall.
a white wall. I want to put shelving up, you know?
The house
no
that-
shame in the game.
The house that I bought last summer had they had little kids, and there was like a bunch of like drawing on the walls, and especially in the basement. And then there's one part of the basement where they wrote "No boys allowed," and it's still up there. We haven't taken it down, but I walk past it all the time, and I think, "Ha,
I'm here. Nana nana boo boo.
on you."
That's great.
Love that. So yeah, I didn't know that. Well, even that prompt for college, that was really an interesting prompt of
Yeah.
you have to go somewhere, experience it. That's a very interesting prompt. So
That's what I'm saying. I love those classes. Those did something. They brought me to a next level of like, I could do more stuff. So
really
Yeah.
pushed you and challenged you, and I kind of miss that about college too, of just being challenged artistically and then having feedback like on hand. Like you just literally go
Yes.
to your professor and be like, how I'm stuck on this, like how do you feel if I went this direction? And then you go or nah. So
okay, I got it.
yeah, it got
It's their
you.
job
I
to
read
tell
it,
you
yeah.
what they think. you
Yeah.
know?
So having that on hand was really nice because you felt like you had more of a sense of direction, where now you're in the big world and you're just like
If you go up to somebody now and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" they could be like, "Leave me alone, weirdo."
I don't know you. Why are you asking me?
Please just help.
All right, should we do another question here?
We're gonna take a quick break
Good
and we
call.
will be right back. Hey, marvelous makers!
And art appreciators.
If you like our podcast,
There's a good chance you like figure art as well.
yes, perhaps you were introduced to drawing from the figure when you were in college and have long enjoyed going to community draws.
Or maybe you've always appreciated figure art but didn't have an opportunity to try it yourself, or didn't know where to go or when, or even if you'd be welcome there, or if you'd feel out of place.
Well, if you'd like to be a part of this ancient craft, we have the solution for you.
We happen to have a world-class drawing studio right here in our own community, located within the 16th Street Art Studios, which is housed at the Racine Business Center, 1405 16th Street.
Draw Joseph Studio is the creation of Joseph Vigneri, one of the most prolific life models around.
Yeah, hasn't he posed like almost 1,200 times?
Yes, and he's introduced over 50 model proteges to the craft of life modeling as well.
Wow.
They constantly have new variety of models to draw from. Free weekly figure draws are every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. till 8:30 p.m.
Wait, did you say free?
Yes, tipping the model is encouraged, but there is no fee to draw.
Tuesdays at 6, you said? Every Tuesday?
Yes and yes. Doors are open at 5:30, so come early and get the best spot. Oh, and Draw Joseph Studio also has 2 monthly draws. On the 4th Friday at 6 p.m. is a special long pose, and every second Sunday at 1 p.m. is a portrait session.
So second Sunday and fourth Friday for specials, but every Tuesday night for regular open session?
Yes, and there's always snacks too.
I love snacks.
Me too.
Draw Joseph Studio at the Racine Business Center, 1405 16th Street.
Park inside the main gate on the northeast side of the center and go straight into the tunnel. The studio is the very first studio inside the building.
Questions? Go to Draw Joseph Studio Facebook. And we are back. What a break that was.
Yes.
Sarah, I have a question for you, believe it or not.
Let's hear it.
What?
So this is one of my favorite questions. Like people love to comment on art, right? And so we're wondering, like, what's some of the funniest comments that you've ever heard about your work, or something that sticks out in your mind?
I don't have any like particular comments. I think just sometimes people will look at my work and they're like, "Oh, like that's interesting." Because they just don't know like how to feel about it. My younger brother, I remember like sculpting like a nose, like little clay piece that had a bunch of like holes in it for no reason. I just, made it, and I brought it home and he's like, "Okay, but why? Why did you do that?"
But
Noses have 2 holes.
So yeah, there's just, I think I get a lot of people that are just like, "Okay, interesting, but like, why is there no hair? Why is this like this?"
well, because I think it's because you're just merging these recognizable human features and you're like morphing them together. So people are just like, that doesn't look normal. So
Do you have an answer to that when they ask you why?
Most of the time, no, it's just like, I don't know. It depends on like what piece I'm working on. Maybe I'll have like a more, a better explanation. But yeah, no, I don't think I get too many funny comments. It's just people are like, they don't know how to interpret it. They're just like, "Oh, wow. That's nice. Good technique there." Like,
Oh yeah, backhanded compliment.
yeah,
like that.
yeah, that's like, "Oh, wow.
dang.
Thank you."
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by with the different artists that we have coming through, of like how they, because some people like to stand next to their piece and have people talk about it, and some people just want to paint it and then put it somewhere and never and how do you feel about that? Do you like hearing people comment on your work?
I'm a mix. It depends on the setting for sure. So if it's like, if I were doing like my own art show, of course, like I want to be there, like talk with people, but I do get very like nervous, I think, at times when they're like, "Let's talk about the piece," especially if it's like an emotional one. And I'm like, "Well, this happened, and so this is what inspired." And they're like, "Oh."
Ooh.
So sometimes it's, I really do like people actually just like looking at my work and them interpreting it in their own way. Because artwork, right? No matter, even if it looks like my face, like you're going to put your own meaning onto it depending on how you feel about it or like what makes sense to you. So a lot of times I like people just like viewing the piece, interpreting it. If they have questions, if they want to know more of the inspiration, I'll for sure answer it. But I'm not overly like, "Let me tell you about this and this." And I get very shy talking about like my own work. Like I'm more like, I'll promote like this person's work. I'll promote like the business I'm at. But like when it's mine, I'm like, "Do you want to know more? Are you
Yeah.
sure?" So,
Really?
This comes from a dark place. I don't think you understand.
so
We're going there.
3.
Yeah. And I feel like also creating work that is usually tied to emotions, it's hard to talk about it because they're so heavily tied to those emotions. So it's, but it's also good because then you can kind of come to terms with it more. And the more you talk about it, the more it gets out there, the more people see it and have appreciation for it. You kind of have comforted those emotions in that
Yeah.
process too. So it's always this balancing act of don't speak too much, but don't speak too little about it.
Definitely.
So,
And it's
yeah.
like creating like something that could have been not so beautiful, like into something that is beautiful. People want to look at it maybe, or maybe you just appreciate it for the process that it took to get there.
Yeah.
But But yeah, you definitely are in a vulnerable spot, and that's where sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking, like being in front of your own work.
Yeah.
Just like, oh,
Oh,
okay,
I
I'll
would
talk
be,
about it if you
yeah.
want. Yeah.
And also like as somebody viewing the art, I feel very intimidated about like telling the artist who spent all this time and effort on this thing what I think about it. Like I don't know, that's intimidating to me. I'm too shy most of the time, but I bet most artists would like to hear that probably. There's a reason they painted that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, even if it's not what they intended. It's just like I was, speaking about before. It's cool how people interpret things. Like you could look at it and like, oh, this means this for sure. And
Yeah.
then someone next to you is like, no way, it does not. So I don't know. I think if you're feeling something about a piece, you let that artist know. They'll appreciate it.
Let
Unless
my
you're
light
like,
shine.
Yes.
let your light.
I think this is horrible.
No, that took a turn.
I would never say that.
But tell me why it's horrible.
The artist. Okay, let's dive into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's somebody out there that would love that.
Yeah, thank you.
I was going for
I
horrible.
intended that.
So bad it's good. Oh my god.
Nobody's ever told me that before.
It does take guts though to talk to some artists sometimes about their work, especially not knowing if it's emotional. That's, I think,
True.
one of those roadmaps that you need to kind of feel out about talking about a piece, because if you say, oh, this should have been changed, I feel maybe it should have been like this or that, so you don't always know the perspective that it's coming from. So traversing that lightly.
It's a very personal, and everybody's different. But yeah, we always talk about how like art is like it's like a conversation. It's like a way to communicate. It's a primordial thing that humans do. So it's part of that conversation.
Most definitely. And it might be uncomfortable at times, but it's good. It's good to be uncomfortable at times.
Yes, yes. Challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Challenge yourself with a deep conversation, because sometimes those are hard to have.
Yeah, but sometimes they're more worth it than you could ever
Oh, yes.
expect. So definitely good.
Here, here.
So you are very big on community, as you were talking about earlier. What are some of your thoughts on the local art community, if I could talk, and ways that you think that we can improve it? Any project ideas, anything like that?
So I think in the last like couple years for sure, the art community has been just more lively, like with the amount of opportunities that have been coming this way, just the amount of artists that I know that are like getting into places or like showing their work. The Kenosha art market has really been picking up, which is super, like I have family and friends that now ask like, oh, when does that start again? And I'm like, I think a lot of things are getting established, which is really awesome. I think it's on the rise, which is very exciting, super exciting. I'm very happy to be part of the community and like attached to so many people that know things like you.
Oh my god.
You have so many like ins and out and connections. And
She pointed at Shelby, by the way.
that's,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
there's so many connections with that.
It's true.
It is. I mean, even being on this podcast, I mean, this is exciting. This is new. So I'm very, if I didn't say it enough, I'm very excited about what is going to come because I think it's only on the rise. As for projects, I don't know. I think it would be cool to do more prompt and like get artists involved. Like Jill has been promoting doing like group projects where everybody, like the art show, they get one thing, everyone makes it, and then a business hosts all of our art and then people can buy it. I think that's so cool. Not only are you meeting fellow artists, but your work is getting displayed. You don't have to pay a fee usually. Like the things that I've been going to, I'm like shocked. Like people are like, no, the money's yours. Like, don't worry about it. So I would love to see more of that, but I think it's coming. So right now I am very happy with how things are going. And I don't know. I look forward to possibly being part of more things like with the art classes. I know we have to get that rolling, but
We'll get there. No pressure.
yeah.
Maybe when you guys are listening to this episode, who knows?
Wouldn't that be convenient?
Oh, nice.
Planet.
But no, yeah, I think a lot of the people we've talked to have said that they like having the shows, in like you said, the prompts and having like a thing to do, a deadline to work for
Yeah.
seems huge. So I think having more of that is only going to help.
Definitely. And it seems like a lot of galleries around here are very active with promoting the artists, which I don't know if that's like that. I'm assuming it's not like that for every place that you live in. So I'm very happy with how we've been doing it. You've all been doing it. Like, yeah, I think it's a good thing. And I think it's only going to get better throughout the years as things get more established. Like this, who knows how big this could be one day? You never know.
This little tiny podcast.
Everything
Us?
starts somewhere.
Us, tiny little
old me.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, we've got big dreams, big goals. So yeah, I love the aspiration of it's on its way to being something big. So
Yeah.
definitely love the positive energy.
Yeah, y'all are doing something good here. You should be very proud of yourselves.
Do
Aw,
you hear the blushing, people?
Oh, yeah.
the hair flipping. Oh me.
It's literally happening.
Well, thank you for the compliments.
problem.
And we definitely like to have you here, so we could talk more about that later. But yeah, seeing your work here and everything, you bring a very different perspective as an artist, very positive. So that's why we love having you around. Yeah, getting things, keeping things moving, keeping things growing, very important.
Oh, heck yeah.
But is there
We're-
anything you want to talk about before we wrap up?
We definitely want to have you plug some stuff.
Yes.
But did we miss anything?
I don't know if we missed anything. Well, I don't know. I'm going to go on like a little soapbox
Yes,
over here.
do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Mhm.
So, because I teach painting classes and,
At Pino's Palette.
yep, at Pino's Palette. And it's great. I've been there for 4 years. That's not necessarily what I was going to plug, just so we know.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I see a lot of people that come in, like almost every class I get. People are saying like they can't do anything, they can't draw a stick figure, they can't do anything. And I think it's important, even if like people are listening to this or anything art related, or they see anything art related, like maybe you, just because you're not doing art doesn't mean like you can't. And
This time she pointed at me.
thank you for making that clear. I think it's important to remember that like anybody can create and it doesn't have to look any certain type of way. Like that's how new styles are formed. Like just go on your own little path. It does not have to look like anything. And I think that's important to remember, even though like you might have artists on this podcast. Like we're all artists in our own little ways. Even if you're creating like your little Facebook, whatever this is with the weather,
Whatever
like
the heck
yeah,
that is.
that's an art in itself. So I just
Okay.
yeah, I think we should all like appreciate and if you're thinking about doing art, I think you should just try it and just not be hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah,
Yes.
create. We like people to create things.
And this is a great space to do it.
Yeah.
Offer
Yes.
lots of classes here at Lemon Street Gallery.
Oh, well, thank you for the plug. Yes.
Yeah.
We have painting classes, beginning stained glass classes, beginning ceramics classes, either the wheel or handmade. So,
Check out lemonstreetgallery.org
yep.
and look for that. But where can people find your work, Sarah?
I am most active on Instagram. But I'm also on Facebook. They're all the same. Even if you go on TikTok, all the same.
TikTok, yeah.
He's got a TikTok.
I don't post a lot on there, but you'll see pictures of, or like videos of my dogs on there too.
Yes.
It's a whole
I love it.
mixture.
What should people search for?
It'll be under Sarah Ratliff, so SarRatliff. So that's
Two
where
Fs.
everything is. Yep.
That always throws me off.
Yep.
It's 2 Fs.
Yep. So look in the little description if you need to. Also, I do have an Etsy that has that same like first part, Sarah Ratliff, and it's just studio. So if anyone's interested in purchasing work, a lot of it's available on there or on my Facebook. So
Yeah, take a look.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll have the links to that in the description of the podcast, most likely. If not, yell at us, as I always say. And yeah, well,
Yeah. Go buy some of Sarah's art. I
Do
love
it.
it. I'm like her big cheerleader.
Art stalker.
Yes. I have her first ever mushroom painting.
do?
Oh,
Yes, her first
Yeah.
one
And
ever.
It was so cute. It's so cute. But that started something. So that is a special piece in a lot of regards.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a world-renowned collector of Sarah Ratliff's art. If you ever need a piece on loan, contact me. I have the OG. But yeah, and you can find. Well, first, before we plug our stuff, we're gonna plug the wonderful band that made our intro, outro music. Would You Kindly? You can go follow them on Instagram, Facebook. Just Would You Kindly, and you can also find us on Facebook at the ArtSpace Podcast. And we also have a Facebook group that we started recently. It's called The Marvelous Makers and the Art Appreciators. And it's just about talking about past episodes, upcoming episodes, art events that are happening in the area. Yeah, fun things going on in the art community. And we also have an Instagram page, the ArtSpace Pod. And you can also listen to us on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Please rate and review. We have no reviews right now, so
yeah. Tell us what you think.
yeah. Give us some feedback. We're kind of at this pivotal point right now where feel like we can get a little feedback. So rate, review, subscribe. We also have our YouTube channel, so feel free to leave a comment there as well. So yeah, let us know what we're doing and how things are going.
Yes, we want to know. And listen in next week. We'll be back next week with a new guest and another episode.
Yep, we'll see you in the next one. Alrighty, bye.
Bye.
Depression, addiction, the thrill that you seek. Our restlessness cages the fire we need. We're here to inspire.